GOATY gave his first golf lesson last night, and I'm going to show you exactly how powerful it was. So I've got this golfer here, and he made a huge improvement with his scores. So GOATY is measuring how your body is moving to generate power. That's your engine score. Your anchor score is measuring how your body is staying stabilized in order to stretch the fascial systems and to create consistency. Obviously, when your body's moving all over the place, it's much harder to be consistent. He had a 13-point jump there, a huge jump of 26 points on his engine score, and then a massive jump of 50 points on his whip score. And you're going to see what all of this stuff means in just a second. So let me show you his swing here. So on the left is his before swing, on the right is his after. Both of these are the swings that he submitted, so they're practice swings, or they're actually hitting balls. But you're going to see, even with just a practice swing, because you don't have to practice with GOATY actually hitting balls. He doesn't care. So a couple things you're going to notice. Now, Rich was recommended one drill by GOATY to work on. This drill is not available on the site. It's only available through GOATY because it was designed with GOATY. So GOATY understands the context of this drill and when he needs to recommend it and why, based on the data. And so you'll see that Rich has kind of the old school move here on the left, where he has a huge lead knee kind of swinging in. And this puts him in a position where he's balanced, but it's very hard to stretch your core correctly to generate power. And you'll see that this makes it where, as he comes down into impact on the left, you're going to see that his hands and the club head, even on a practice swing, kind of catch up to where he's getting into a flip here. You can see his hands are just barely ahead of the ball. And when you look over here on the right, his hands are way farther ahead. Now, Rich was emailing me back and forth last night. He worked for 30 minutes with GOATY. That's it. And well, he actually worked just momentarily with GOATY at first just to get an analysis, and then GOATY recommended a drill, and then he worked on the drill for 30 minutes and then came back and started analyzing a swing over and over again. And each time he analyzed it, GOATY gave him feedback to say, this is what's going on, here's what you need to do, go back and work on this drill, and so on. Now you can see that his hands at the equivalent impact position are way farther ahead. He actually has shaft lean, and you're going to see his body. Look at how much more his hips are rotated at this point, ripping his right foot up off the ground. Hips are really rotating now. So now he's finally learned how to rotate his body. You can see how his body, his anchor, his head, and the rest of his stability points are staying back, and the arms are flinging through. And that's why you saw such a huge difference in his whip score, because now the hands are letting the club whip through the ball. And you'll see that as he starts down, that he begins to start to rotate his core very aggressively, and that's what's pulling his arms down. Not his arms, he's using his core to get to this position. So now when you get in and start using GOATY, one of the things that you're going to start to learn is, what are these sternum traces? What are these graphs that you're going to see in GOATY? These are the simplest way to really understand your swing. If you're doing this correctly, if you're moving correctly, it will show immediately. You will immediately know what's happening. And now I'm upgrading GOATY as we speak right now. So when you go in and ask him questions about your sternum graph, he can explain it to you. So what's happening here is the model is the blue line, and Rich is the orange line here. And you're going to see as he starts back, the top of his back swing is right here, and the circle and then the square for the cyan graph. And what you'll see is that before, he would kind of start to go down during his backswing and then start to go up and then just kind of stay flat during the downswing. And coming into impact, the star is a little bit of rise, but there's no real velocity there. You look at the model, and the model is loading down into the ground and then exploding up. And so when you look at what you're trying to understand, is your sternum graph should match the model very, very closely. And what I've seen in almost every single student that I've had as a beta tester, almost every single one rises during the backswing instead of staying pretty level or even going down slightly, and then stays flat or even rises more the harder they throw their arms from the top. And so now you can see that Rich is actually going a little bit down during the downswing, and then starting to get a little bit of explosion going up. So now the trend is starting to get closer to starting to move more and more like the model, and that is the goal, because that is maximum efficiency. So The difference in Rich's scores overall was he was starting out as I'll play these swings here, a 50.8 GOAT score and jumped to a 78.6. Now, ball striking wise, this is the equivalent of picking up about 8 to 10 strokes of capability in terms of your handicap in ball striking. So if you've got somebody who's hitting at 220 yards, which is about typical for a person scoring about 50 in the GOAT score, and now they can jump up to nearly 80, that difference is about 35 to 40 yards off the tee. So yeah, it's massive. And because GOATY's measuring not just are you moving correctly, but the speed in which you're moving, the body segments. Are you moving fast? Are you moving correctly? Are you loading correctly? You can see real huge improvements really quick. 30 minutes and nearly a 30-point GOAT score improvement. Not bad for GOATY's first day on the job.